With the second movie, we're going to have a whole lot more crowds. I was thinking specifically about how are we going to get the sound of 10,000 Uruk-hai.
You could record a few people and double it and double it and double it and double it and create the sound.
But that just doesn't have the dynamic range and the weight and the spread and the size of what a real crowd would be.
That's when the idea of recording at the cricket stadium came up. Pete Mills worked for about a month in conjunction with the Cricket League and set it up.
The crowd were really wound up because New Zealand had batted first and had got a pretty good score, and so at halfway through I kind of had to stride onto the middle of this bloody cricket pitch. They actually wanted some chanting and black speech, this sort of guttural language of the Uruk-hai, and I had to explain to the crowd what we were doing and get them to chant the black speech, looking at the words flashing up on the screen.
He had them pounding their chests, back and forth. He had them stomping. He had them doing all these different things that could then be used.
Unfortunately, when you're dealing with a sports crowd, they have a few beers, and anything that wasn't full-on shouting, you had too many drunkards in the crowd who would be yelling something completely inappropriate, or, "G'day, Peter, we love you, mate." It's like all this stuff. And so unfortunately, it was only the chanting stuff which sort of worked out, and even then we only got a reasonably short section, but it was enough.
Of course, when Christopher Lee's doing the speech, on the day that we shot the film, I wanted to give him something to react to, so I asked any of the crew to gather round in front of Christopher, and at all the appropriate moments, they would sort of cheer and clap.
They were so terrible that I banished it from my mind, chose to ignore them. But it is a little difficult to stand behind a camera and suddenly become 10,000 Uruk-hai.
And if you listen to the original recordings that were done in the studio on that day, and then you listen to what the 25,000 people do, it's sort of, you can see what the sound design of a film has to actually accomplish.
Well, it brought a tear to Wormtongue's eyes, and I hope I think it had that effect on everybody.